Jerry Seinfeld is back making brand new stuff, but be aware that this messy film is not for the faint of heart. I'm still emotionally processing what just happened.
How did it get this far?
It's breakfast. Things happen.
Isn't this a cereal company? Why did my husband explode?
Unfrosted takes you to a time when milk and cereal ruled breakfast. A fierce corporate battle begins over a revolutionary new pastry. Man, so I love Jerry Seinfeld. The show Seinfeld is my favorite of all time. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. The B movie, which Jerry Seinfeld starred and co-written, is an underrated modern cinematic masterpiece, unironically. And so when I heard about this film and like this crazy plot that's a weird fictional story of how Pop-Tarts were made, I was in, no questions asked. But after seeing the film, while there are definitely some things I really liked and respect about the film, it's definitely messy and kind of falls apart and doesn't really work. But first, before I even get into that, let's talk about what works in the film. First of all, I think the film just has a strong mise-en-scène. And if you don't know what mise-en-scène just means whatever within the frame of a film, right? What's in the frame, what's in that box. That can include the costume design, the set design, the lighting, where the actors are positioned within the frame, the acting style even, right? It's just visually what can you see in the frame, what's the director putting in it, and what's the director leaving out. But instead of going all those things individually, I'm just going to say mise-en-scène to put them all in one group. And in regards to that, I think the film does a really nice job of having it be a visual spoof of the 1960s. It works, it's endearing, it's funny, and it's cool to see with these vibrant colors and designs. Overall, this film I thought was kind of a funny spoof of the 60s and the Cold War area with a lot of good singers and gags with historical events and as well as real historical people. I mean, they weren't laugh out loud funny, but they were funny. I liked it. But the real highlight of this film is just the absurdity. The story is absurd and it really translates well into like really absurd visual comedy. I mean, there's a scene in the film where you have a funeral and the funeral is just like these really sad, depressed mascots after putting the coffin down in the grave, just pouring cereal and milk all over the coffin. It's just sloshing over. It's so irreverent and depressing that it circles back to genius comedy, and I was laughing a lot. And there's quite a few scenes like that. Now your mileage may vary on that. You might watch that and be like, "This is so stupid. How can anyone enjoy this?" In my personal opinion, I loved it. I wish the film had more stuff like that, which kind of goes into the cons of this film, or really why this film just didn't work. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. In a comedy film, you're not really there for the gripping storytelling or nuanced, compelling characters. Hell, maybe not even standout visual storytelling. The question is, well, did this film make you laugh a lot or not? And besides those absurd moments I've mentioned, the answer is no. The film really is just a bunch of scenes strung together by breakfast puns and zingers, which are funny and cute in the first few minutes, but I think it overstayed its welcome. It became stagnant, and it's not like the film offers a really interesting story or what have you. So it doesn't really have anything strong to offer. It doesn't offer that, but it doesn't offer great comedy. So I wish that we had more of that absurd humor that I mentioned before, but they're few and far between. And yes, while the plot itself is very absurd and crazy, and that could be entertaining in of itself, but that doesn't translate into that absurd visual comedy that's really gonna glue the film together and make it unique and make it a joy to watch. And instead, it's just few and far between, and you're just kind of stuck with these non-stop breakfast puns and zingers, and that's what the film revolves around the whole time. Which I guess, makes sense because this film is about like breakfast and breakfast companies. Sure, I get it, but it just felt a little stagnant, I guess. So overall, I say this with a heavy heart. As a big fan of Jerry Seinfeld, that Unfrosted gets 2.5 stars from me. This film is not a bad film, but it's not a film that I would go out of my way to watch. It's there, and you can take it or leave it. There's no harm in either choice. Believe me, I want to like this film more, and there were definitely a lot of aspects that were enjoyable to the film. but I think it could have been executed a lot better. And as a result, that's the rating I give it, 2.5 stars.
Talking about happy childhoods for millions of American kids. The important thing is the name.
Fruit Magoos. What?
No,
Heat 'em up and eat 'em ups.
no sale.
Oblong nibblers.
Is this a joke?
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to comment. Let me know if you've seen the film and what you thought of it. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.